In this video, I'll show you how to turn an overcast dull day like this into beautiful, vibrant images like this. Let the adventure begin. I've just arrived in the woodland and I've already spotted my first two squirrels. They're right at the tip of this tree. Oh, amazing. Today is such an interesting day. We're a really mild weekend and we've got this weather front coming in. The temperature has just suddenly dropped again and we're expecting sleet showers very, very shortly. And I've come into the woodlands, and because we're in this transition stage between that mild settled weekend going into the next wave of wintry weather, I'm out just now in this lull, you know, that transition lull between weather fronts. And the sounds at the moment are so intense. It's like when I was walking here, the sound of the traffic, there was somebody using a strimmer. It was so loud. We've had the aircraft flying overhead. And then coming into the woodland right now, when I saw that squirrel, the first thing that drew me to its attention was how loud it was as it was scurrying up the tree. And then the bird sounds. I've had crows squawking and gulls calling and little birds, little blackbirds making their little chirpy noises. But it's so loud. So loud. And this sort of weather, you know, when we're transitioning into the more stormier weather again, it's usually a situation where most people wouldn't come out. But actually being in these transition moments is so exciting and interesting. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at these things. I think I've just found my first photographic opportunity of the day. I've never seen these before. How interesting. The first tip for creating vibrant images on an overcast day is to find something colourful. This may seem quite obvious, but you're not going to get any colour or vibrancy from the sun, so choosing a subject that's colourful, like this bush, will enable you to do so. The rain has just begun. It's very light at the moment, although there's still plenty of little droplets of water in the woodland from the rain that we had overnight. And look at this little bit here. These sorts of things fascinate me. So here, we've got this leaf where all of the little petals, I guess you'd call them, from that plant have fallen down onto this area here, and the leaf has caught them. That's so beautiful. Last year I hosted an online course called Learning to See. I did 2 cohorts last year and I'm just about to do another cohort in January. And one of the sessions is about relationships, the relationship between your subjects. And this to me is a great example of this, the relationship between these petals, these buds, these flowers that are coming out of the tree, and its relationship with the leaf. When you think about these relationships when you're doing your photography and how everything is interconnected, it can really enhance that connection when you're doing your photography and allow you to find some really interesting photographic opportunities. Next tip for creating vibrant images on an overcast day is to photograph water droplets. When water is present on your subject, it naturally adds contrast and interest. The reflective surface of the water contributes depth and shine to your images, further enhancing the darker areas and bringing out the contrast. Imagine if these water droplets were absent. Something would be missing. The water droplets add the magic. It's the small little raindrops that are really enticing me here. And this is why I think the relationship between our subject matters is so important. Because in this situation, it was the vibrancy of the yellow leaves, or the yellow petals, should I say, that enticed me in the first place. And then, once I saw the yellow petals, I then saw the tiny little rain droplets. And now it's the little rain droplets that are really interesting me, because what I'm doing is finding a rain droplet that I'm noticing is sparkling a little bit in the light, and then focusing on that rain droplet with the petals around it to try and create a beautiful image of both of the subject matters perfectly connected. And then, of course, when you think about it on a larger scale, you're also considering what's going on in the background. So the relationship with my subject matter, the petals and the water droplets, with the background, so that I can try not to include anything that's going to distract the eye from what I'm photographing, but that also may complement it. So in some situations it may be another rain droplet in the background, which is allowing this beautiful glistening effect, or it could be trying to find something darker in the background, like a branch of one of the trees that's behind it, or a trunk of one of the trees, or some of the leaves, and trying to eliminate any of these small pockets of openings in the canopy of the trees, so that I don't have these really bright white areas in the back of my image. I just had a thought. I've got an app on my phone called iNaturalist, where you can photograph something that you find in nature, and then should be able to ID it. So it'd be really interesting to find out what this is. What did you see? I do not know. View suggestions. Let's see if we can ID this plant. Barberries, Japanese Maholia. Let's have a look at this. Barberry. Okay, it's not. Oh, it might be. Gosh, no, it's not. What about Japanese Mahonia? Oh, it could be this. Or Mahonia japonica is a species of flowering plant in the family Berberidaceae. Let's see what else there is. It does have the characteristics though. Wood gossip, what's this? This woodland that I'm in today, this is one of my local woodlands. It's really interesting because although we're in a native woodland, there is this bowl within the woodland, which is known locally as the witch's cauldron, because this area that I'm on just now was used in the witch trials. Some very nasty things happened here in the past. But the energy of this place is quite interesting nowadays, and it's got a lot of, obviously, history attached to it. But there's this area in the witch's cauldron, going off tangent there, but in the witch's cauldron, that has different species of bushes and plants and trees that you don't normally see anywhere else growing. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is this Japanese thing, because we do have some Japanese gardens in Scotland where people bring some of these non-native plants and plant them to create these spaces. And looking at the ID of this thing, it does, or does it? Oh my god, I don't know. Oh, maybe it's not. It's got the leaves. I'm not so sure. It looks like it's barberries. I sometimes find these ID apps quite difficult, especially because they're showing images of the plant throughout the year and the seasons, and of course it varies throughout the year. But it does look like this is barberries. If any of you are ecologists and you can tell me for definite what this is, I'd be really interested. Let me know in the comments below. Certainly something that's not commonly seen in Scottish woodlands anyway. And now that the, quite frankly, comical ID attempt is out of the way, it's now time to share the third and final tip for creating vibrant images on overcast days. And this step occurs in post-processing. Something that I love to do in these situations is to add a hint of blue to the image, particularly to the backgrounds. I currently use Lightroom to edit my images, and by selecting the backgrounds I'm able to take the temperature down a tad to add this blue effect, and as you can see here it really brings the image to life.
This is a quick and simple way to add some vibrancy to those dull, overcast days, and it can make a huge difference to the final result of your photographs. This also works particularly well when you have some water present in the image, which of course here we do in the form of the water droplets. So when you combine these three things together, the colourful yellow flower, the water droplets and the blue tone, the images really pop. In my humble opinion, anyway. And before I leave this yellow bush behind for good, here's some final abstract images.
Speaking about relationships, as I'm walking along this path, there's all these beautiful, vibrant yellow leaves. I'm being very drawn to yellow today. It's quite interesting. Although we are now today is the 2nd of December, there's still quite a lot of autumn colours around. I mean, the majority of the trees are now bare, but there's still some trees that are still very autumnal, like this beautiful yellow tree here. That's so lovely. And then when you look then at the ground, down here, we've got all the leaves, which is really, really nice actually. If I flip this round and we look down here and we see all of these leaves, I just love that. Absolutely love it. It's colour again. It's definitely colour again. And we now have an opening in the clouds. Oh my gosh, I've got a beautiful blue sky above me as the shower of rain has just passed. Yeah, I think I might create some images of these beautiful leaves to finish off this morning's photography venture. So I think that's the message of today's video. It's all about the relationship of your subject matter. What is the relationship of your subject matter in relation to everything else around it? And really take that time to observe it. What are you actually looking at and how does it relate to everything else in the world around you? Because if you can start to notice things and begin to see the connection between what you're photographing with everything else around it, you can begin to piece everything together to create beautiful images that really say something and really speak to you. I really feel that observation and really practicing your observation skills can be one of the best ways to improve as a photographer, because of course it's a very visual art form, and while we can bring our other senses into it to deepen that connection and also get creative in many other ways, if we can really, really deepen that observational skills, it will make a huge difference to the images that we can create. So if you'd like to learn more about how observing the relationship between your subject matter can enhance your photography, as well as other observational skills to help you also, then you may be interested in my Learning to See course. The next time I'm running this course is in January. It's done via Zoom. It's open to anybody, no matter where you live in the world. I'll put details up here in the description box and also on my website. There's only 10 places available in the January cohort, so if you'd like to join us, it would be an absolute pleasure to welcome you and assist you on your photographic journey. It's always a pleasure to connect with you guys personally and share things more deeply, and also see how you guys interpret these things in your own photographic practice, so we can gather together and learn from each other. It's always a beautiful experience.
And as well as considering the relationship between your subjects, next time you're faced with a dull, overcast day like I was on this day, you may consider trying some of the tips that I shared with you in this video, so you can create beautiful, vibrant images despite the grey colour. And if you're looking for additional inspiration for photographing water droplets, you may find this video of interest.